Hi, I'm Kirsten McLaughlin, Public Affairs Manager for Cox Communications, and this is Community Connection. Today we have Amanda de Lucia from the Goleta Valley Historical Society. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Why don't we start with you telling our viewers about Rancho La Patera?
Rancho La Patera is a very special part of Goleta. It's really one of the historic hearts of Goleta, and it started out as 1,100 acres of a very large ranch. William Whitney Stowe, who is the counsel for the Southern Pacific Railroad up in San Francisco, decided that his son Sherman needed a little project. So for $28,600, he bought 1,100 acres for Sherman to practice his hand at agriculture. So the land was purchased in 1871. They started building Stowe House in 72, completed it in 1873. And Sherman and his wife, his bride, Ida, were married, and they started their family there at Stowe House. The significance of the property is really the agriculture. They started out, they did almonds, and they grew walnuts. And then in 1875, they said, hey, let's try some lemons. So they planted about 3,000 lemons in what was, it has been told that it's the first commercial lemon operation in the state of California. Through the years, under the Stowe's stewardship of the property and the experimentation with some different techniques for growing lemons, they were able to really be an instrumental part of the boom of the lemon industry in the Goleta Valley. And Edgar Stowe, who was the ranch manager from 1915 to 1949 when he died, he was a Berkeley grad. He played football for Cal, but he was the most significant of the Stowes, if you will, in terms of what he was able to accomplish. He was very involved in the community, and like many ranchers, they had these experiment stations, and they tried to figure out better ways to grow their crops. And one of the things that he was very involved with was helping to develop a disease-resistant rootstock. Prior to that, it was a little bit of hit and miss as to how well your crops did, and they were able to come up with this disease-resistant rootstock that allowed the lemon industry to really take. It was a boom, in the Goleta Valley. So,
wow, what a story! What a great history. Tell us about how the historical societies, or what the historical society's role is in the ranch and its preservation.
The Historical Society, the Goleta Valley Historical Society, was established in 1966 specifically to help save Stowe House. At the time, the Stowe family lived there through 1949, and then their cousins, the Van Horns, moved in and were there until the early 60s. And at that point in time, a large chunk of the ranch was sold to a developer. And what we now will know and love as Lake Los Caneros and this wonderful, beautiful natural preserve was going to be a private gated community with 3, 4, and 5 bedroom houses and a golf course. And so many citizens got together along with the Historical Society and convinced the county of Santa Barbara to save this property. So that's how we're fortunate enough to be the stewards of this property. Currently it's owned by the city of Goleta, and we work very closely with them to maintain the property and for preservation efforts as well.
And what can visitors to the ranch expect to see and learn?
First of all, you get to see this gorgeous property. From any direction you come in, the Stowe House is this magnificent Carpenter Gothic, beautiful home that is very well maintained, and that is thanks to the city of Goleta. She has a new roof, she's got new paint, she looks beautiful. But you'll see our gardens and our arboretum as well. The Stowes, like many of the affluent families of that time, like to have their private gardens, and they would get ideas from their travels, and they would see exotic trees and go, oh, let's try some of these trees in our yard. So we have many specimen trees from all over the world. We have Moreton Bay chestnut from Australia, we have bunya trees, we have Spanish fir, we have Chilean wine palms. So many of these are over 100 years old, and they were planted by the Stowes, around the turn of the century. So it's really a charming, magical site. So you don't have to go visit Stowe House. Of course, we always encourage you to take a tour because it's so beautiful inside as well. but any day of the week you can go and see the grounds and the gardens, and it's a very peaceful place. So if you're feeling a little bit anxious and jacked up a little bit for the day, just go take a walk.
Oh, it sounds wonderful.
It is. It really is.
And I understand you have a wide array of education programs. Can you tell our viewers some about that?
Sure. Our main education program is our Pioneer Days program. And it was developed in conjunction with the Goleta Union School District. And it's geared toward third graders, and it teaches to the core curriculum that's mandated by the state of California. The first part of the program is we go out to the schools and we give the kids a little presentation about what life was like on a ranch, and we show them some pictures, and we bring things for them to touch and sometimes throw around, but we discourage that part. And then the teachers are given a booklet that they can work with the students through the weeks as their schedule permits, and then we bring them out to the ranch. And that's the fun part, because they get a tour of Stowe House, and they see things that they've never seen. There's the spice grinder on the wall. It's like, what's that? And the old-fashioned telephone, and then we take them out into the ranch yard, and they get to do some hands-on activities. They get to work with a block and tackle. They learn about branding, and they learned how the workers used to measure the size of lemons to determine the grade, so they actually have hands-on. They've got the little scale, and they're checking them, and they're weighing them, and they're looking for bugs in the lemon trees, and so they just,
wow.
There's a little bit of something for every student, no matter what your learning style is or speed. And then we also take them into our History Education Center, which was just in 2008 was renovated. It was originally the packing shed. So once the lemons were packed or the walnuts were picked, they would put them in the packing shed and wait for the best prices to come along before shipping them out. And so we've turned this into a History Education Center, and again, it's all hands-on. You can touch things, we can write on the walls, in certain places, and the kids sit down and they do problems on a little a slate board, with chalk. It's like, what's this? And so we really try to give them a sense of what it might have been like for an 8-year-old living on a ranch 100 years ago.
Wow.
And it's something that you don't really experience anymore.
Right.
So.
And I understand you have a strong oral history program at the ranch as well.
We're really working on building up our collection of oral histories, because as you know, once we lose people, you can never get it back.
Right.
And so we have our list, and we're always looking for people to approach to give us their history. Or if people are interested, please call us. We would love to talk to you and capture your history, because it's such a rich part of the Goleta Valley. So we're also trying to make those available online too, as we get a little more tech savvy and digitize
fantastic.
things. So we're doing everything we can to do not only the oral histories, but some of our other collections to make them available to the public.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What a great community resource.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you often have various historical exhibitions.
We do.
Can you tell us a little bit about that program?
Yeah. Well, now that I mentioned the History Education Center and that renovation, part of that also includes an exhibit hall, a small exhibit hall that we have. And we had our first exhibit 4 years ago, which was focused on the Japanese attack on Elwood. And so we had a year of related lectures. We had great artifacts, and we had newspaper articles capturing that, and we had some really fun lectures surrounding that, and people really enjoyed that. So every year we have a different theme, and this year we have an exhibit on the 4-H. It's called Homegrown: Goleta's 4-H Legacy, and the 4-H program goes back to the 1920s here in Goleta. And so it's amazing. People started going through their closets and finding stuff from the 1940s and the 50s. And so it's really brought back a lot of great memories, but also brought focus to a program that's really been very influential in many people's lives. And so we have the exhibit up now, and we'll have different programs relating to that as well throughout the year.
And one of the things that many of our viewers are aware of out at the ranch and the way they know the ranch and the Stowe House is through the community events.
Oh.
Tell us about some of the community events you all do out there.
We love our community events. We just had our 8th Fiesta Ranchera. We had over 1,000 people there, and we were dancing under the stars to great music and celebrating the old Spanish Days history. And that's one of our biggest events. And then we also, throughout every year, of course, we have our 4th of July celebration. And right after that, we have a summer concert series, Music at the Ranch. And for 6 weeks every year in the summer, we bring in local bands, and people bring their picnics out there, and you can buy a glass of wine if you'd like, and sit down and again enjoy the beautiful gardens and listen to some great music.
So I know we could talk about the ranch and the Historical Society for a long time, but in our final moment or two, can you tell us how people can get more involved?
We're always looking for people to get involved. You can contact us. We have volunteer opportunities that would include, helping us out on the weekends when we're open to the public, or helping at our events, or becoming a docent and learning more about the history of the ranch and the Stowe family. So we're always looking for people, and you can always find us at our website or send an email. We'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here
Thank
today.
you. My
and
pleasure.
Sharing a little bit of Goleta Valley's history.
Yes.
And thank you. Until next time, this is Community Connection.